Welcome to the Healing Journey with your host, Dr. Kate Olin. Join us for another episode where we create a safe space to engage in a vulnerable discussion that pertains to all aspects of healing. And now your host, Dr. Kate Olin.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Healing Journey. I am Dr. Kate Oland, and today we are going to continue our series on healing and food, one of my favorite subject matters. So, over the years, I have continued to pursue my passion of food, wanting to combine enjoyment of pleasurable eating experiences. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Healing Journey. I am so grateful you're here. Now, last week, you heard my conversation with Fred LeBlanc, the drummer, the songwriter, the front man for one of my favorite bands, Cowboy Mouth. And he and I, we dove deep into healing, art, creativity, faith, and fun. Now, today I want to revisit some of the most powerful themes from our conversation, reflect on them, and maybe together deepen some of those ideas. For those of you who are just joining us, I am a student of the John Barnes approach to myofascial release, which is a form of bodywork that I have become passionate about. Not only has John taught me how to be a better fascia physical therapist, but his principles of presence and surrender have changed my life for the better. What struck me right away was how much Fred's words echoed what I've learned through the bodywork world, particularly from John Barnes' teachings of myofascial release. He talked about presence, about letting go, about surrendering to a process rather than force pushing. That's not just music talk. That's healing language. It reminded me that whether you're healing your body, trauma, your soul, so much of the work is the same. Awareness, trust, letting go. And once we surrender, that's when the real healing can begin. But awareness and surrender aren't easy. And they often require a leap of faith. At one point, Fred, something that just stuck with me. He said, it's always a leap of faith. Think about that. Whether you're starting a new album or a new business, beginning therapy, embarking on recovery, or simply deciding to live more honestly, a leap of faith is often required. And you don't always know the outcome. You might not even know the path fully, but you just have to take that first step. That kind of leap asks everything of us. Vulnerability, courage, trust. And once you leap, you have to keep going. But here's where Fred offered something deeper. He said, joy needs to be woven into the process of doing. It's not just at the finish line, but in the journey itself. And that really resonated with me. How many times do we grind, push, force the process as if healing or creativity is a check the box, a to-do list? And trust me, I love a good to-do list. But joy, real, true joy, is the fuel that keeps the heart beating. It's what reminds us why we started in the first place. So I want to challenge us. This is including myself, that whatever you're doing, your healing, your art, your work, ask yourself, is joy present? Or did I forget to enjoy the process? And joy doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it's subtle, It requires you to be present to notice it, because sometimes it's hidden deep under the surface in our subconscious. Another powerful idea from Fred. He said he uses music almost like a form of inner excavation, writing songs and performing in many ways. It helps him access things he may not consciously understand yet. Things buried, unspoken, unresolved. That hits close to home too. And the work that I do in helping people heal their bodies, often the pain or the tension, the holding isn't just physical, it's emotional. And sometimes it's not conscious, but rather subconscious. And that can show up in our tissue, our breath, and our posture. So whether it's music, movement, body work, these are all languages of healing. Different dialects, but same vocabulary. Feeling, releasing, becoming what you're supposed to be. But here's a key truth that kept coming up. Every single one of us is different. Every body is different. Fred and I kept circling back to this. No two people are the same. And that can be both a challenge and a gift. And healing what works for one person might be useless to another. In creativity especially, one person's path might be loud in public, says the podcaster. But another's could be quiet and internal, and that's okay. That's good. We are all different with different paths. Because in honoring our differences and refusing to force a one-size-fits-all template, we find authenticity. We find our truth. But authenticity doesn't always come with stability, especially when you try to turn it into a living. Fred spoke candidly about how difficult it is to monetize creativity, mostly because consistency is hard. Art isn't like a factory line. Creativity ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're inspired, but sometimes you're empty. But what I loved about his approach is acceptance. He doesn't view creativity as a paycheck. He views it as life, as a process, as a ride. So, for anyone listening, if you're trying to make art or healing your profession, understand this. Seasons will come and go. There are highs and lows, and that is part of the journey. Not a bug, but a feature. And sometimes that uncertainty, that flow, leads to unexpected universality. One of the most beautiful moments in my talk with Fred was when he told me about how he wrote the song I Believe for himself. It was all for him. A personal act of healing, getting grounded, intimate, really looking within. But here's the magic. Because it came from such an authentic, honest place, the song has become universal. People from all walks of life have connected with it. It is a very important song on my healing soundtrack. And that's the power of truth in art. When you share your vulnerability, your struggles, your healing, your doubts, you don't just heal yourself, you give someone else permission to start the healing process too. And it isn't neat. Healing can be very messy, much like creativity. Life isn't a straight line. It's a winding road. It demands faith, presence, that we show up even when we don't know where we're going to land. But when we step, when we breathe, when we choose joy, that's where healing lives. That's where the music, the art, and the real connection, that's where it is. So as you walk your own path of healing, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual, political, I invite you to remember these words. Be present. Surrender. Trust the process. Embrace the joy. Honor your uniqueness and be open to the leap of faith. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. If you enjoyed the original conversation with Fred as much as I did, I encourage you to go back and listen and then take what resonates into your own healing journey. Now, in this next segment, we will speak with a dear friend, Meredith Brunner, about the art of sound healing. But first, a word from our sponsor. When I started Thrive Everywhere, my mission was to create a space where people could feel more confident navigating the healthcare system while also taking ownership of their health and wellness. What began as a platform to empower private practice clinicians, those of us who have the freedom to take care of our patients without the limits of corporate systems, well, it's grown into a resource for anyone looking for the right provider for their unique needs. With their patented search filters, finding care is simple. You can search by the service you're looking for, the diagnosis that your doctor gave you, or the specialty services that you need to connect the clinician who's right for you. For providers, Thrive Everywhere makes it easy to create a profile so you can spend less time on logistics, algorithm, and marketing, and more time caring for your clients. So, whether you're a clinician ready to build your practice or someone looking for a provider who truly understands you, we're here to support your healing journey. Now, we plan to go live sometime in early to mid-January. So as you are looking to improve your health goals, we hope you consider allowing us to support your journey at thriveeverywhere.com. Happy healing. Hi guys, welcome to this segment of the healing journey. I am honored to have my dear friend, a badass massage therapist. Her name is Meredith Brunner, and not only is she a licensed massage therapist, she is also a certified sound healer. So I am so excited to follow up after we heard so much from Fred about music and energy and channeling it, to now come back around and talk about some therapeutic sound healing. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into sound healing. And I think I remember you were a massage therapist first.
Oh, yeah.
So how long
time? I've been a massage therapist for over 13 years now.
It's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've taken a lot of continuing education. And what actually got me into sound healing was doing sound massage.
Talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
So sound my first training was at the World Massage Festival, which is a continuing education conference and kind of like a vendor and networking. They have them in different locations all over the country. This one particular one I was at was in Cherokee, North Carolina, and there was a introduction to sound massage. It was from some German institute where they like manufacture the bowls. And I like signed up for the class, just very curious. Like I went in and like some of the bowls were kind of like cringy to me. And by the end of like the training, I was like, I'm getting a bowl. And it kind of just, since then, it's been like in the background. A couple years ago, I did another certification for level 1 sonic massage with a lady based out of South County, Patty Pellerito, amazing woman. She was actually contacted by the National Board of Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork to offer this as a continuing education for massage.
Wow.
Because she was like scientifically validating the ease of end of life massage with this modality, like the recovery for surgeries or other health ailments. And yeah, I did my level 1, and then I was kind of feeling on fire. I bought a set of crystal bowls as well. So I bought some Nepali hand beaten bowls from her. I bought a chakra set of crystal bowls like a couple months later, took an online sound certification for those. And then I also had some tuning forks that I had gotten from a friend doing vibrational raindrop massage, which brings in like frequency of oils and sound. And so it's kind of just kind of piecemealed itself into my career as a massage therapist. And then recently I kind of had this desire to go into being a specialist in sound healing.
Yeah.
But ironically enough, it brought me back to craniosacral.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a winding road of healing is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing. So now, when you say you bought a set of bowls, for some people who've never been in this realm, talk to me about the type of bowls and what, it's not a bowl you eat from.
I mean, you could, but you wouldn't want to because they're more costly than that. So my first bowl was like a little small manufactured one from that German company, and institute. And I want to say it was like $300 or $400. My Nepali bowls range in size and price. I think the most expensive one was like $800, has some like etching in it. But they're like an alloy of different metals that have been like hammered out in the traditional style, and like they're not as precise with their frequency, but they do have their healing because they have like over and undertones. And then the crystal bowls are actually liquidized quartz crystal that has been like put into a mold, and it's like tuned to a very specific frequency, and it's like the I want to say the alphabet frequency, and that's what my brain's saying, but the very specific frequencies that are healing to the body of those notes.
Yeah.
So like tuned to the 432 versus the 440.
Now, so we're talking about bowls that play music, right? We're talking about music and sound, but that sound is also I think of sound as something we hear, not something we see. I very rarely think of sound as something we can feel. But if anyone's been to a concert, and we just talked to Fred, right, last episode, you can feel that sound. Even if you didn't have your ears, you would feel the vibrations.
Oh yeah, it actually vibrates your cells at a like sometimes at a subhertz frequency, like to where you can't audibly hear it, but you can feel it at your cells. And what it does is it actually restructures the water in your cells to a more geometric, like sacred geometry style structure versus any dysfunction that is caused by trauma or injury or ailments or disease or sickness.
So this is reminding me of some of the principles I've learned as a myofascial release therapist, which is, if the fascia gets restricted, then it gets dehydrated, and what should be like a liquid crystalline type texture becomes more of a solid. And if we get that vibrating, it sounds like it can help maybe help release some of that restriction.
Yeah. So I'm also certified in myofascial in my massage, and I'm so like when I think sound, I also have to bring in the aspect of stillness and the aspect of movement, because I'm also a yoga instructor, and in my trainings of getting into sound, I read a book on the sound of yoga, which includes the stillness aspect of sound, the dancing aspect of sound, and how like literally everything in the universe is inherently light and sound vibrating.
Yeah.
So basically the universe is nothing but an ecstatic dance where we're all just shining our lights.
Dancing around each other. Man, if we were doing more dancing, wouldn't this world be a better place? There's all this new research out that shows that dancing can have the same effects on your brain that some antidepressant drugs have. I read that, and this weekend I made an intention to move my body in a joyful manner while I was in the kitchen doing the chores, because that's not necessarily a joyful moment, but you can create that joy if you want.
Mhm.
That
Joy is a choice.
joy is a choice, happiness is a choice.
And when it comes to conscious languaging, which also gets into the sound, how we speak to ourselves, both externally and internally, can actually create the reality around us.
Amen, sister. I'm so glad you brought that up, because you, my friend, y'all, Mare is my massage therapist, and that's coming from someone who's pretty picky. So just so you know, that's a shining recommendation. But you, as well as Casey Combs-Luker, another queen of body work, you guys have really instilled in me the self-talk.
Yeah.
And it's not just something I've changed for myself. It's something I've also incorporated into my practice, because I think it's very typical for us as humans to have an internal dialogue. Well, every human has an internal dialogue. And when it's about myself, it tends to track negative.
That actually kind of gets into the programming of society. Throughout the history, the way we have been brought up, the language we are taught, the stories that we experience or that we are born into, if you want to get into like ancestral generational traumas, it all comes from the words that have been spoken into existence, and it creates a pattern, a cyclical pattern.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one of the biggest takeaways from when I took a training in conscious language is that when you speak about debt, if you speak about it in like the negative, like, I don't want debt, you're actually creating more debt because you're using the word debt. But if you switch it to I am financially free, you become financially free.
It's like manifesting abundance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing from you, and that's
Mm-hmm.
a term I've heard several times in this healing journey that I embarked on just a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you brought up ancestral healing, because I just took an ancestral healing course.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredible, led by Lindsay Sedegas. She and I actually went to high school together. Hadn't spoken in many years, but her business is Omnia Sancta, and I learned so much from her. It was a really wonderful class. So we will have an episode on ancestral healing someday, but we'll get to that. But I kind of want to circle back around to some of the sound and frequency.
Yep. Sorry, I get distracted because it's all the same to me.
Healing. Well, because you're a healer.
Yeah.
You are a healer, and everything that you are learning, whether it's yoga, massage, sound, all comes back to the fact that you are healing yourself to better heal the people you come in contact with.
So I like to look at it as I heal myself and clear out what isn't in a resonant vibration of like a higher frequency. And then when people come to me, I am simply holding space and manipulating so that their body does the work to match my frequency,
to self-heal.
Which kind of is exactly going back into the bowls, how the bowls work. When the bowls or the gong or the drums, whatever resonant frequency of sound that you are healing, it can actually pull you into that frequency. It's kind of like how music will calm you down when you're stressed out.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to play. I have for those of you who are just listening, not watching, I am going to wave my tuning fork by my microphone. Okay. So as I tap my tuning fork, I can feel it vibrating in my hand, but I don't hear the frequency until I get it closer to my ears. And I'm putting it closer to the microphone.
So the tuning forks are essentially the acupressure version of sound healing. And you can put it on like a very specific point that's correlated to the meridians, to the organs, to whatever, belief, because there's a lot of same but different amongst different cultural practices. So
I personally, I am aware of meridians. I'm aware of acupuncture, but that's not something I've learned enough to be able to practice. These are my tuning forks, and I use them in the office. And what I've learned from you is that the body better receives it if you can hear it. And then I place the little tuning fork. What I often use it for is like if there's a point in the body that I'm having trouble getting it to release, I will set it on that point for a few seconds.
remove it, and then use my hands to try to work it out.
It helps break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that vibration, right?
Yep.
It helps to break it up.
Basically, it's like shaking it out at a cellular level.
Yeah.
Which is at a bigger level, shaking it out of your body and like a dance.
Yeah. Yes.
As above, so below. As
Yeah.
within, so without.
Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about the sound, the healing that comes from the vibrations of sound, but then you take that to the healing that comes from that sound, causing us to feel like we want to move in a joyful way, which is dance, or for my fascia friends, we call it unwinding.
Mm-hmm.
Unwinding is letting your intuition or letting your body move the way it would move without your frontal lobe stopping you.
There's also somatic release is another term for it.
Yeah, I think that's so in my world, in the fascia world, we call it unwinding. I think in like the therapy and or psychology world, they say somatic release. And it's similar. I think it might be the same concept, just different professions.
Yeah. Same, different.
That's right. Isn't that all the same?
It's really all the same. If you want to get into like the big of it, it's like we're all one. Everything's interconnected. All frequency affects other frequency. So I also have a Native American flute. My friend who made it for me is Lakota and made it in the Lakota tradition. And he's talked to me extensively about his research and how like where you play your instrument, like the environment around your instrument can impact the sound that the instrument makes. Wow. And the other instruments around it can also impact it.
Yeah. We're all connected. We're all connected. Now, gosh, I'm trying to pull up a fact that is in my brain. I won't pull up the fact, but I can pull up the concept. It's something I was reading about recently about, how far out our energetic field from our body.
They say 8 feet is like as big. It's anywhere from 3 to 8 feet. And that's actually something that's talked about in the craniosacral training that I'm in right now, which gets into like the idea of finding stillness, because in the stillness you can find the expansiveness, and that's like the opposite the polar opposite of the sound is the silence, and both are necessary for healing. But yeah, I personally think it can go as far as you want to expand it. Like I've done plenty of meditations where I'm like coating the whole globe with my energetic field and like radiating love to all the people and healing to all those in need. Yes, that's what the world needs right now, especially with all of the intolerance and fear-based beliefs that are running rampant.
I think those fear-based beliefs tend to get a lot more notice, a lot more attention. And my hope is that there's less attention on the work you're doing. Maybe that's not my hope, but I'm hopeful that it's happening more often than we realize, right? Because we are doing the work. We are trying to help bring society back together in our own little way, because, man, we are pretty divided right now.
Yeah, but all of those fear-based beliefs are stories
we tell ourselves
that stem from ancestral trauma or personal trauma or societal trauma. Like it's all just an agreed upon belief system that we can choose not to agree to anymore.
That's right. That's right. And we can use some sound healing to try to help us break the cycle. So now some of these words I feel like I love this conversation because we're kind of weaving in and out of some very scientific terms: frequency, vibration, energy. And then we're also interweaving some of what, I used to think of as voodoo or hippie or, I don't know, the opposite of science, I guess, is the way I used to think of it. But they're one and the same is what I'm learning.
So going back to my cranial training, because that's actually what led me to all of the things that I have learned. The craniosacral, in the terms of my own teacher, is a scientifically validated version of shamanism. It's just the things that we once thought were woo-woo, voodoo, hoodoo, ethereal nonsense just were not validated by scientific measures yet, but it's what the ancients inherently knew because they were actively still connected to the nature, to the to each other, to the plants,
Mm.
to the spirit source, whatever name you want to give it.
Before we got distracted by all this other
Yeah.
garbage that's out there.
Yeah, basically.
Now, real quick, just because, I know what craniosacral therapy is, but I know that
yes.
there is, whenever I mention that to a client, they say, oh, do you just touch my head? Do you just touch my sacrum? So that I say, no, I'm not really sure how it got the name craniosacral therapy, but why don't you explain what it is?
That is a good point. So craniosacral therapy is a form of osteopathic medicine that was developed, I want to say, in like the 1940s, possibly a little bit earlier, but like was starting to be actually actively researched. There actually are a few different modalities of craniosacral. So there's mechanical and then there's biodynamic. I practice the biodynamic style. Because in the biodynamic style of craniosacral, the point of the session is to drop the nervous system of the client into a state of parasympathetic and to reach a place that is inherently the spark of conception, which symbolizes our complete, perfect wholeness from the start.
Ooh.
So it precedes any traumas, verbal or nonverbal, and allows your body to heal from that original starting point and like go back to that.
What a beautiful description. I love it. So I actually, my first continuing ed course was a craniosacral course. I was in PT school at the time. So we're talking more than 20 years ago. And I will tell you, I think at that time in my life, I wasn't ready to receive this information. I was in doctoral level courses, very scientific, very rigid, and this felt less rigid. And to me, that meant less scientific. But I know now that was just the way I received the information at the time, right? Well, so anyways, that was my first continuing ed course. I don't remember much of what I learned at that time, but I have received lots of craniosacral. And I'm telling you, it's powerful. I tell people it helps me to feel much more emotionally flexible. It's almost like intense. Like if I could do a full day of meditation and then feel that relaxed, like that's how I feel getting off the table. The way I describe it to clients, when I'm trying to tell them like, oh, you should go see Mary, you should go see Casey, they do craniosacral. And what I tell them is what they're doing is they are using strategic touch points based on embryological development, based on how we developed in utero. And those touch points help the therapist to access the nervous system to help calm it down. So I can keep saying that. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's how I describe
That's more
it.
the scientific version.
Look at us. Look at us. You got, yep. Does that, yeah. So we're combining science and spirits, which I also appreciate. It's just not, that wasn't my foundation in this world.
Same. I found spirit through science. I was a very agnostic non-believer before I got into the field of massage.
Yeah. That's we could do a whole other episode on that.
I'm down.
Right. Well, so, I was actually doing a little bit of research before this conversation because I wanted to find some of the science.
Of course.
And so there's going to be some, in the show notes, I will have some articles listed that I have looked up. And I don't want to go into all of them in depth. This is not like a review of science articles, but they're there in case you want that resource. And I know a lot of my friends like the science, but something that I found so interesting was that the fact that there are several studies that show improved heart rate variability, or HRV. And heart rate variability, basically, it talks about your heart, the physical recovery from some sort of stimulus, whether the stimulus is physical, emotional, stress, something like that, how quickly you can recover. And it says that after low frequency sound or vibroacoustic therapy, there are several studies that report improved heart rate variability. Yeah, we can all use a little more of that.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I know one of the things with gong is like it teaches you how to breathe through like the uncomfortable parts of like when it gets really loud so that your body can actively be able to handle stress in the real world.
Yeah.
Because you're in a safe space when you're receiving the sound. And sometimes the frequencies can be a little dissonant or rub you the wrong way internally. Like it feels kind of like that, like nails on a chalkboard for a moment. But the reason that is like strategically to massage that stuck point in your energy body. So that way, when it gets into that like consonant or that resonant frequency that's like in harmony, then it just kind of like soothes it away, and then it just like flushes, like the energy starts flowing through that stuck point. It's kind of like when you hold on like a stuck fascial point or a trigger point, and then it finally releases.
You feel it release, which we have been trained how to feel that release. Now, some of my clients are like, how can you feel that? How can you tell? Oh, I've touched some people. Yeah. It takes a lot of practice.
I've used these a few times, I think.
Yeah. So some people that I've talked to, when I mentioned that you give sound baths, some of my clients get a little nervous. They think they have to get naked. They think they have to get in water. I have to say, no, you don't have to be naked. There's no water involved. You are bathing your body in sound.
Yeah. Sometimes I question who came up with that term. I think it was just, I don't know, they were inspired because like I've heard sound experience, sound session, sound massage, sound shower, I think I've heard once. So yeah, I think it's because the bath is like you're bathed in the sound, and so like you're surrounded by it, like you're sitting in a pool of water, but instead of water, it's sound. But yeah, if you're ever interested in doing a sound healing session, whether it's in a group or a solo, you can stay fully clothed. You can be fully blanketed up with pillows and be as comfortable as possible, because that's ultimately the goal, to be as comfortable as possible during these sessions, so that way you can actively achieve that meditative theta brainwave state, so your body can actively heal, not just at the physical, but at the mental as well.
Sounds like mental, spiritual, emotional, vibrational.
It's an all-encompassing tool, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I've been to a couple sound baths, and so I just kind of want to walk people through it. So I'm not a sound healer myself, but I have attended several sound baths, several with my friend Mayor, and there's another sound healer in town. I go to his events occasionally too. But so what I do when I go is I usually bring a yoga mat, a pillow, and a blanket. Now, sometimes if you're at a yoga studio, they will have those things for you. But if not, like in my office here, we don't have a yoga studio. So you would want to bring your own things for when we decide to have a sound bath here at Thrive Holistic Physical Therapy.
We're planning some collabs in the new year.
We're going to do it. But you can be sitting. You can be laying down. You can move during it. You don't have to just lay like a statue.
I invite people to get up and walk around if they're feeling the need to, or leave the room and come back when they're ready. Like if you have, sometimes it moves the energy so much that you have to get up and go to the bathroom, or you will pee your pants.
Yeah.
Like I've experienced that myself. And also like I've experienced a lot of sound baths too. Like I went to a sound bath when I was recovering from a car accident injury, and that was the only time I actually experienced discomfort in my body during the session. It was only for a brief moment when it was like that heightened, like dissonant sound. And then by the end of the session, all the pain that I had walked in was gone.
Wow. Yeah. Now, do you think that you had that powerful experience possibly because your body is so taken care of and so open to healing?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it. So I do think if you've never been to a sound bath and the first time you experience it, I don't know, the first sound bath I went to, I was kind of uncomfortable because I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. But each time I've had that experience, I think I've been able to lean into the discomfort a little bit more, that to the point where I could let it go. And then it's a different experience every time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Mare, if someone wants a little bit of your sound healing, how do they find you?
Honestly, the best way to contact me is through my texting phone number, which I can have Kate.
I will put it in the show notes. We will not broadcast it live. So if you're here in the Madison County area in Illinois, or if you're a couple hours away, I have a couple clients who drive a couple hours to get here to see me, which is a huge honor. And I know Meredith does too.
Yeah.
Once you find a good healer, man, you stick with them.
Yeah.
So we'll put your contact information in the show notes. Now, you offer events where you practice. What if someone wanted you to come to them for an event?
Absolutely. We just line up a time and a day that works for both of our schedules. I'll pack up my stuff and head over. A little extra time for travel and setup, and you know, I've done a few in-home events for people, and it's been pretty profound. A lot of people like to stay sleeping on the floor for a while after sessions, so I just sit patiently until everybody comes back. Sometimes I'll end up singing to them too.
Yeah, because you are embarking on your musical career this year, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, a couple live sessions.
Yeah. Eventually they will be there. I gotta put them in the calendar. Hermit's Jewels.
Hermit's Jewels is the band that we are conceptualizing right now, a group of healing women who want to spread love, spread joy, spread frequency.
Yeah. There's a few men in this group as well.
I apologize. I'm only familiar with the 3 women who've talked about this.
Yes. We've added a few people since we've had the founding group session.
The founding mothers of Hermit's Jewels, Casey Combs-Luker, Meredith Brunner, and Dr. Kate Oland.
Yes.
Yes, we are the founding mothers, and we invite the whole community.
So. The plan is to have like a show up, hang out, play, dance, sing, whatever feels comfortable. We'll have, whatever instruments, whether it's shakers, drums, flutes, bowls, ukuleles, violins, saxophones. Like I do a lot of like music festivals and retreats as well in my career path that have come in. And so I've met quite a few musicians who just like, they'll meet up and they'll just jam, they'll make stuff up on the spot. And it's kind of inspired me to do that in a more healing sense, because most of those people were also in like sound healing training as well. And I found that out after the fact. And I was like, oh, that's why I'm so drawn to their music.
Yes. And something I've had to let go of is my need to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have any fear playing with these bongo drums that I'm having so much fun learning how to play. I just need to do it. And when I just let it flow through me, it sounds okay for me. Yeah. That's all I'm playing for right now.
Absolutely. And honestly, like for people who are new, you just come in and you just like sit into the rhythm. Like you get one little drum and you just hit. You don't have to play a whole lot.
Yeah.
I personally like starting on the shaker, because the shaker is really hard to mess up the shaker. You just keep shaking it.
Give those to a baby and a little baby can make some music out of it. Yes.
Music is inherent in our souls, in our blood, in our bones. It's why community would gather around the fire and drum and dance and sing and chant.
It's part of the healing.
It's all the same. It's just slightly different based on how we were raised. And it's kind of a shame, because getting into like the fear-based stories that we live in this society, they've inherently taken that away from us as a way to like enslave us to this status quo of we have to fit in a certain box, we have to be a certain way. And it's like, it's so inauthentic and out of integrity with who we are as humans.
Yeah. Letting go of the fear is something that I think is a very common theme in healing.
Oh, yeah.
I think all of us have that need somewhere along the way, for sure. And it's something that once I heal one level, well, I realized maybe there's another fear underneath that. It's just, becoming more conscious, but also allowing the subconscious to help us heal too. And Fred, on my last episode, talked about allowing music to help his subconscious process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the fear is a lie, but it stacks a bunch of stories on top of it. And some of those stories go back to when you were in the womb and you heard something outside of your mother and you didn't know what was going on. And the only way that you could regulate your nervous system was with hers. And so if your mother was stressed out, it created this like unsafe kind of environment, even if it was temporary.
Right.
And so that gets into the traumas that are pre-verbal.
And there is science on those
I know.
aspects of life, living, creation.
Mm-hmm.
And man, if we could get our society set up to better support pregnant mothers so that we could try to flip the script on the fear and anxiety, what a beautiful thing that would be.
Yeah. Well, we can speak it into existence.
Right now, we're manifesting
we're creating it to be so.
Right
Cancel
now.
clear all the fear. Only love exists and is real.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
On that note, let us manifest all the love, the joy, and the sound that comes with sound healing. So if you want to learn more, check out the show notes. Meredith, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for bringing your light, your love, your knowledge to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Healing Journey with your host, Dr. Kate Olin. We hope you enjoyed the experience. Please make sure to follow the show so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself.